Hello all, in this session we are going to learn querying relational data, logical database, introduction to views. Firstly, let us see what is querying relational data. Querying relational data, the name itself suggests what? It is a question about the data and the answer consists of a new relation containing the result. Now, whenever we wanted to retrieve the data from the table that is created in any specific database, we will be using select command here. So select is a statement or a command used for retaining the tuples or the records present for a given table. Here we have two different syntaxes using select command, and each of these syntaxes got its own purpose. Firstly, let us understand when we will be using the first syntax of select command. If there is a table called student table, and this includes attributes like student ID, name of the student, and age of the student. Now, in this case, the first command is used, the first syntax of the select command is used only the case when you wanted to retrieve the data for specific column names. And the second syntax is mainly used for retrieving all the records from the student table name. There is no condition specified over here. If it is required, you can mention a condition. If not, if the table contains n number of column names and the values are inserted for all the column names, if a user would like to retain all the tuples of that particular table name, then simply we will be using asterisk in the place of these column names. So asterisk means what? It is going to retain all the fields of the selected tuples in the result. So these are the two different queries or the syntaxes we will be using for select command. Next, coming on to SQL aliases. What is an alias? Alias are the temporary names given to the tables or the columns. What do you mean by this? Suppose that the table name which I have created is a student. Now I don't want to make use of the same student as a table name. I wanted to temporarily make changes for the student table name to some other table name, say stud. So in that case, we will be using this particular command. It is not only used for naming the tables, it is also used for naming the columns temporarily. So we will be using as a keyword in order to temporarily change the name of the table name or the column names. So here we have the syntax: select column name as alias name from the table name. So let the column name be SID for the student table name. So this is my student table name. Now I don't want to make use of the student ID as SID. I'm just going to change it to roll number. Now, what is my query? Select SID as roll number. So SID is temporarily renamed to roll number. From which table name? From table name student. So thereby what happens is, whenever this particular query is executed, you get output as something which is displayed like this. So here, instead of SID, it is changed to roll number, and the values which you have given previously for SID, those values will be displayed as it is. Only the thing is the column name is changed to roll number. So this is how is happened using as a keyword. Using this SQL aliases, we can easily change the names temporarily for the tables as well as the column names. So what is the purpose of changing the names? When do we have to change the names of the tables or the columns? So here aliases are generally used if there are more than one table involved in a query, or in cases like the column names are big and they are not very readable. In that cases, we will be using aliases, using as a keyword. Now moving on to the next slide. How do you have to retrieve the data from multiple tables? So in the previous slide, we have seen how you're going to retrieve the data from specific column names or how you are going to retrieve the all the tuples from the given table. So now the thing is, I would like to retrieve the data from multiple tables. In that case, we will be using this as a syntax. So let me explain you by taking this as an example. Here we have name as an attribute and customer ID is an another attribute. And this particular attribute belongs to some other table, and let the table name be enrolled is a table name. And name is an attribute which belongs to another table name, and let the table name be student as a table name. So I would like to get the values for the name, which is an attribute belongs to students, and the values that I would like to retrieve from SID, that is, sorry, CID, that is customer ID, which is an attribute belongs to enrolled entity. For that, you have to specify from which table names you wanted to get the data, as well as you also have to create an object. Students as S. S is nothing but the object which you have created for this particular entity. And similarly, E is also another object which you have created for this particular entity. Make sure that if you are retrieving the values for two different attributes that are present from two or more different tables, there must be something which is in common from the two different tables. What is a logical database? So what it is used to retrieve the data from various tables, and the data is interrelated to each other. It is not only used for retrieving the data from one particular table, it is also used for retrieving the data from the multiple tables. But the thing is, those tables are interrelated to each other. So when can we say that the both tables are interrelated to each other? We have already come across the primary key constraints and foreign key constraints. So primary key is a table which is also known as a master table, whereas a table which contains a foreign key is known as a child table, right? So there exists one attribute which is in common with the primary key table and the foreign key table. So likewise, when there exists any one attribute that is common with the multiple tables, then you can simply say that there is a relation that exists between those tables. So here it is used for retrieving the data from not only a single table but multiple tables that are interrelated to each other. They name this as level 0, and this is level 1, this is level 2, and this is level 3. So it forms like a tree-like structure, and the data is organized in the form of tree-like structure. And when this particular logical database is used, it is used only when the structure of the database is very, very large. In that case, we will be using this logical database. For example, assume that this is our university database or the college database. Now, this database is a place where huge amounts of data or interrelated data is stored. Now, how he is going to retrieve the specific student details is that firstly, he has to come across the batch in which the student belongs to. So which batch he comes under. Now, under that batch, there might exist several number of branches. Let the batch be 2024. Under this 2024 batch, there might exist several number of branches. So this particular level 2, assume that this indicates the branches which comes under the batch. Now every branch contains several sections. So now again the head of the department has to search for the section in which the student details might be available. So likewise, in an orderly way, you are going to retrieve the data or the record of particular student. A view is generated to show that the information that the user or the end user requests the data according to the specified needs rather than complete information about the table. That means whenever the user would like to retrieve the data from the table, assume that the table contains 1,000 columns, right? But the user is not willing to access all the data that comes under 1,000 columns. He would specifically wanted to retrieve the data from few columns. So in that case, he can create a view and store the data of that particular columns. So that creation can be done using a create command over here. So what is the syntax we have? Create view, view name as select column 1, column 2 from table name where condition. So this where condition is up to you. On some particular condition, you can get the data, or if you ignore this, simply you are going to get all the entries that the user has made for the particular columns for a given table name. In order to update a view, you can either use a create or replace as a keyword here. Create view, view name. Previously, we have created view name as XYZ. Now we have wanted to update it to something, say LMN. So in the place of XYZ, I'm again going to write LMN. So when you are trying to update the view, how many number of times you do, that many number of times the views are created based on the condition. Inserting a row in a view. Inserting a row in a table is same like inserting a row in a view. This particular command is used for inserting multiple records into a view table. Deleting a row in a view. Now, if I would like to delete any particular row, based on a condition, you are going to delete a row from a view name. I wanted to retrieve all the records from the view name. So this is a syntax which you are going to use. Select asterisk. As said before, this asterisk symbol is used for retaining all the tuples from the particular view name. Next, dropping a view. I wanted to delete the particular view which I have created previously. In that case, we are using drop from view name. If I would like to delete the table, then what is the query we are using? Drop from table name. So here we are using drop from view name. So this is all about the views. Now let us see the execution of all the queries which you have learned in this session. Under this database, we have created two different tables, namely product table and sales tables. Now I'm going to find what is the information or the data that is stored in the product table. For that, we will be using select as a query. So select query is used for retrieving the records or the data that is stored in a particular table name. So for that, I'm using select asterisk from what is my table name? Product, end with semicolon. Now this is a table name with three different column names present. What it is? Product ID, product name, and product price. Similarly, I also would like to know whether there are any records or the tuples present for this sales table. Select product ID, comma, product name from the table name called product. Now this is what you are going to see. I would like to find out the price of the product name called ABC. Now what is the query that you have to write? Hereby, when this query is executed for ABC, what is the price that you have inserted? That is 21,000. This should be our output. Let me click on enter button and let us see the output what you are going to find. So this is what the output you get. Now let us see how we are going to retrieve the data from these two tables. As said before, there must be something which is common when you are trying to retrieve the data from multiple tables. If you can find, here we have PID, which is common from the product table, and PID is common for the sales table. Now it is easy for retrieving the data. So let me write the query over here. You can find something like this. So this is how you are going to retrieve the data from the different tables. Now we are going to create views using create command. So what is the syntax we have? So delete from table where p name is equal to, what is the name? LMN, n with semicolon. Now what happens? One row has been affected, which means this particular second row from a view called ABC has been deleted. So drop view, view name. What is my view name? ABC is a view name. Once you click on enter button, it says query OK, which means this particular ABC has been deleted. Now let us check whether ABC has been deleted or not. How do you have to check where this ABC view is present? It is present in a database. So what is the database which we have used? That is customers is a database which I have been using. Now let us see. Show tables. When this show table query is executed, once you click on enter button, you must not find this particular view called ABC because this view ABC has been deleted. Now let us see whether it is deleted or we are able to find it out. Now if you see, there is no other view in this particular customers database because it is being deleted. Hope you have understood today's lecture. Thank you.